Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Today's story is going to be about Annaliese Michel. Now, Anna Elizabeth Michel, she was born in Bavaria, West Germany, and that was on September 21st in 1952. She was born to a very religious Roman Catholic family and raised by Joseph and Anna. She also had 3 sisters as well. Now, the whole family itself was very religious. Anna actually went to Mass twice a week. Now, when she turned about 16, she actually she had her very first convulsion, and she was diagnosed with temporal lobe epilepsy. Now, in 1970, she suffered her 3rd seizure in the psychiatric hospital that she was staying in, and instantly they started her on anti-convulsion drugs. Which, don't get me wrong, it makes sense, but those drugs included Dilantin, and however, they never really worked anyway, so what was the real point of them? So, either way, after that, she actually stated that she began seeing devil faces throughout the day. Like, at various times throughout the day, she would just look around and she would see devil faces all around her. And then, within a month of starting the anti-convulsion drugs, they actually started her on anti-psychosis drugs. Because, she was going around saying that she was seeing devil faces and all this other stuff. So they prescribed her with anti-psychosis drugs. And those actually began the real delusions and disturbed behavior. So I feel like at this point they would have realized that the drugs obviously are making things worse. So maybe they just shouldn't give her any more drugs. But, hey. This is the 1970s, so. But her depression actually ended up worsening, and her treatments ended up making her very, very frustrated at the whole medical intervention thing. And she was very frustrated, with the fact that, she had to take pharmacological, how they stated it, pharmacological drugs for 5 years. Antipsychosis and anti-convulsion drugs. All that stuff for 5 years. She was over it. So, at that point, once she's done, she's over it. And the psychiatric hospital have gotten to the point where they feel like they can't help her anymore. They send her back with the family. So, she actually goes to live with some family members in San Diminio. I may be saying that completely wrong. I'm just going to go ahead and just put it in the text down here. That way you can just see how it's spelled. But anyway, she ended up went and living with them. Now, they actually organized Christian pilgrimages. So, basically, it was just like Christian get-togethers. I have done this twice now. Obviously, I can't say this word, so we're just going to keep going. So, anyways, now, while she was en route to her family's house, the escort that she had taking her actually ended up determining that she was demonically possessed. And the only reason he said that was because when he got her, she said that she could not go onto the shrine. No matter how hard she tried, she didn't want to. She did not want to walk past the crucifix at all. Not one bit. And she wouldn't drink any holy water whatsoever. Wouldn't even touch it. Like, cringed at it. So, at that point, her escort was just like, listen, she is possessed. We have got to get an exorcist going, and we've got to get it now. So, at that point, after that, her family and everybody she knew talked to many, many, many people, many, many priests trying to get an exorcist going. Now, unfortunately, all of the priests that they went to had declined. Okay, all of them stated that she didn't need a possession, that she should just resume her medical treatment, and that it wasn't anything like that. Now, and that the exorcisms needed a bishop's permission to be able to do them. So that was the two things that they needed to be able to actually perform the exorcism. So even though they didn't do it, she ended up keep doing the drugs and everything like that. She got worse over the time physically, and showed self-injury. She showed a lot of aggression, and she even drank her urine and ate insects. This is very intense. Then, in 1973, in November, so about the end of 1973, they started her on even more medication. They actually started her on anti-seizure drugs and mood stabilizers because they thought she needed some stabilizing, I guess. Now, it didn't matter what they gave her. All the drugs that they gave her, none of it was working, and she was becoming worse. She got to the point to where she began growling, throwing things around, and even seeing demons. So, once it got to that point, and once she was declared that she didn't look like an epileptic, and she wasn't really having seizures, and she was doing all of this, oh, I see demons and growling and all that other stuff, a priest named Ernest Alt, he believed that the possession was real, and he actually went to his local bishop, and urged them to allow the exorcism to happen. Now, in 1975, there was a letter that was wrote to Alt from Anna, and it said, quote, "I am nothing. Everything about me is vanity. What should I do? I have to improve. You pray for me." Now, after that, in September of 1975, the exorcism was actually approved by the bishop. And it was approved, however, it was ordered to be very, very, totally secretive. They couldn't tell nobody what was going on. Now, once that happened, on the 24th of September, the very first session of exorcisms began. And she began talking increasingly about dying to atone for the wayward youth of the day and the apostate priests of the modern church. End quote. Now, this actually went on for quite some time. I mean, by the end, she didn't want to eat at all. She didn't want nothing to do with any of it. And now, by the time everything was said and done, her parents didn't even want to listen to medical reason anymore. All they wanted to do was listen to what the exorcisms said and rely on them and them alone. Which obviously didn't do anything because this poor girl was not possessed. Now, after about 10 months, 67 exorcisms. Those were going on about 1 to 2 times a week for 4 hours straight. They did that for 10 months to this poor girl. And eventually, Anna ended up dying in her home on July 1st of 1976. So, it was very intense, and it went on, I can't believe that it went on for 10 months. That's insane. Now, in the autopsy, it stated that Annaliese actually died because she was malnutritioned and dehydrated, which makes a lot of sense because she had almost a year of semi-starving while they were doing The Exorcist. And then, you know, they have this thing that, you know, you have to kneel to your superiors. So because she went so long kneeling to all of her superiors down on both knees, she had 2 broken knees from the continuous kneeling. She was, at that point, unable to move without any kind of assistance. And she was also 68 pounds. 68 pounds, that girl. That's horrible. They even said the investigators proved that she could have been saved even a week before she died. If they would have just started feeding her a week before she died, she would have been saved. That's ridiculous. Now, after everything happened, Ernest Alt and her parents were both charged with negligent homicide. Now, here's the kicker, though. I guess back in the day, in the 70s, and in Germany, they had a weird thing of going about it. So, the priest, the only thing he got fined. That's it. He got fined. The parents, they were found guilty, but they weren't punished because the judge had said that they were already were punished enough. Which, honestly, I think it's ridiculous because I think they should have went to jail. They completely tortured their daughter. And, that's basically it. I mean, she ended up passing away, and the priest just paid his fine. The parents lived without their daughter. And then this story, again, was the base for several films, and that is including the 2005 film, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. So that's what that is based off of. And I thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed my story. And don't forget to hit that like button. Share our page, please. Tell all your friends. Subscribe. And definitely hit that blue bell. That way you can get notified every time we drop a new video. So stay beautiful and wonderful. We love you and have a wonderful day.